Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're going to take a look here at Avalanche and obviously see what's going on with Avax and if there's potential for an increase or if it's looking strong. This is a request from one of my community members. Thank you so much for requesting I cover this. Now, if you are new to the channel and you're not a community member, consider joining. We've got over 200 active members, really awesome experience. We all learn and grow together. I have a trading community. I have an academy/college where you basically have a university aspect of learning how to become a better trader. And then on top of that, you also have the benefit of signals that I send out for every single trade that I take, which they're fully automated. So it's a one-stop shop for everything. And if you are planning to register, maybe recommend it soon because the next couple months there will definitely be an increase in price just based on the competition that's out there. I'm actually giving it at a pretty dirt cheap price point. So that being said, you should grandfather yourself in while you still can. Take a look here though. One last thing. BitGet, highly recommend you use this link in the description below to benefit from the transfer funds that you can receive when you start and register with them. Most important thing though is the fact that it's a really awesome exchange and it works very, very well, very smooth. Their application on the phone is fantastic. I use this now over ByBit as well as KuCoin. I prefer BitGet. It's a much better platform to use. So definitely use that link, get registered of course, and benefit from that transfer fund. All you gotta do is fund your account, and of course, make sure after you fund it, you trade with that account. All right, if you're not trading, you're not making any money. Okay, just keep that in mind. So here's where we're at for Avalanche. Pretty straightforward in the sense of the fact that it's down as low as a lot of other coins, right? I mean, from its highest point, it's it's almost 85% of the way down. Actually, no, if you go all the way up, obviously that's a little egregious. We're looking at 89% correction. Okay, so not fantastic, but is the most recent behavior looking good and worth investing in? Let's find out. First of all, let's go ahead and draw out some support and resistance levels. And you want to kind of look at the big picture and see. We can see this one's been tested here as well as in July, and of course it's the most recent bottom. So that's a pretty obvious, distinct support level that we can rely on, knowing that the price action shouldn't go lower than that point. Okay, so it should not go lower than that. Furthermore, we can see this descending type of trend that hasn't been broken yet. We want to go ahead and draw a little line out there as well. We can use the candle wicks and kind of go from there. So generally speaking, that's where we're at here. We're in a descending type of trend, right? And we need to look for specific indications of a trend reversal. Oftentimes it starts with higher lows, preferably on the daily. We're not there yet, but we can look at smaller time frames and see if that is happening. Because once again, yesterday's candlestick was pretty funky from Bitcoin, and we saw the same thing from Avalanche. In fact, the way that it closed yesterday, you should have expected the price action to come down because that's a gravestone. That's never a good sign. So again, not fantastic in that regard, but let's see if there's anything else that could help us out. First of all, 50 on the moving averages. So the 50-day SMA is basically telling us that it wants to start running concurrent with this trend line. So that would be a case in point where I would feel like we're more tentatively bullish on Avalanche if we get over the 50. Because again, notoriously, the 50-day set moving average is one of those moving averages that you want to pay attention to on the daily. It's a very, very reliable indicator. 200, of course, would be great, but we're a long ways away from that. But for now, let's just focus on that. And as far as other things too, we can see we got rejected at 50 on the RSI here, whereas the price action could not go any higher. Okay? And keep in mind, that was effectively the same time frame that Bitcoin lost like 10% value in one day, right? You probably remember that when we had the news from last week. That being said, all in all, not great with that CPI kind of killing, the data essentially is just kind of telling us that inflation is still occurring. We saw a significant decrease in value in Bitcoin. And ever since then, Avalanche has taken a hit. So you got to recognize too, Avalanche is aligned itself with Bitcoin. Unless Bitcoin has a fantastic day, Avalanche is going to follow suit to the downside. All right. I do feel like Bitcoin's bottom is tentatively in. And if you watch my other video, you'll know what I'm talking about there. I did cover that in today's video, but generally speaking right now, Avalanche there's nothing really super positive here. We have a potential MACD convergence, but I would say we'll see soon here tomorrow if that's going to converge or not. We want it to actually intersect with the 12, intersects with an upward fashion through the 26. That gives us that option to potentially take a long position. For right now, I don't have like a lot of faith in this 1 day time frame. It doesn't look great. 4 hour could tell us a different story. Let's see. So we're getting rejected tentatively at the 50, which makes sense. That's a common thing. You can see the 200 aligning itself with that trend line, which is fantastic. Being up over the 200-day simple moving average on the 4 hour time frame is equally as important as being above the 50 on the 1 day. And the reason why is just because they're very close in approximate averages, and they kind of are really good trend setters. So breaking above the 200, in my opinion, would be icing on the cake here, or essentially a great step in the right direction. But getting above the 50 would be a start, right? It's consolation. Another consolation is that we're bouncing off of 50 on the RSI, allowing for us to make higher lows and it continuing higher. So when you see RSI going sideways and the price going up, that's typically a good sign, okay? Furthermore, we also have convergence on the MACD, which has been occurring for quite some time, right? 3 days. So in that sense, it is losing its momentum potentially, but once again, it's done very well for itself, considering if you compare this behavior with Bitcoin's behavior, it's doing better. It's going sideways more frequent than it is dumping, whereas Bitcoin kind of had this crazy candlestick down, had like a double, basically a double bottom pattern, whereas Avalanche is kind of performing a little better. So I do like that slight independence and breakaway. That's a good sign, but does it really tell us a lot? Not too much right now. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to just take off. On the 1 hour, we can kind of see this series of sequence numbers, right? TD sequential, we hit up to a 9. Bitcoin did the same thing, came back down, got a little reset, and now we're up to a 5. So right now, Bitcoin is correcting itself. It's coming down to somewhere in the range of 18,800. In that sense, if that is the case and it continues down lower, then what we can expect is for Avalanche to continue the same progression. It's going to continue lower. But what should likely happen is, as long as the next low isn't lower than this 1715 range, we should be in good shape. Okay. In fact, why don't we go ahead and pull up some Fibonacci retracement levels and just see what kind of potential we have here if this continues higher. So say we get a retest of 1795, we could absolutely have a price point somewhere in the range of 1970. Okay, that's a possibility. That's basically 2x of its most recent behavior in the last 48 hours. That being said, we're at a 5 right now for TD sequential, so a pullback would make sense if it were to, and if it does, as long as we stay above, once again, that $17 range, we should be in good shape, or $17.15. And the reason why that's important is because that would give us higher lows, right? So this next low cannot be lower than the previous. That's an important thing. That's how you can reverse a trend, by making higher lows. Because if you see here, we got this higher low type of pattern. Let me make a better line for you so you can see it. We've got these higher lows here, right? It's continuing higher. And of course, it's retesting this level twice already. Okay, so the likelihood of it continuing up and breaking to the upside is greater than it would be the downside. Is it a guarantee? Absolutely not. But this is a very positive start and a good step in the right direction. So I do like the hourly so far. I like it as well for Bitcoin in that sense. So I do feel like we should see a little bit more upside before we see a pullback. If we were to see a pullback, 18,800 for Bitcoin, which is synonymous in a lot of ways with this Fibonacci retracement level of about 1728. So I think we should be in good shape here, but I would just be very cautious when you trade this coin, because again, whatever Bitcoin does is going to follow suit for the most part. It's not like an XRP for the moment that's really holding strong. Okay, so taking a look, of course, at Ichimoku Cloud. This is something that's nice because we haven't been truly range bound, and it's really helping us understand that we are on the right side of the tracks. Conversion lines above the baseline, lagging spans free and clear price action, and we're well above the cloud. So in essence here, this is giving us all green lights to take a long position. All right, now am I telling you to do that? No, but the likelihood of the price action continuing higher from here in general is greater than it is lower, right? As long as we maintain higher lows, we'll be in good shape to be able to continue to come up here and break to the upside. It may not continue this here. It may actually lose this ascending type of pattern and come down to bounce off the cloud. That's very much a possibility. The key takeaway here is the most recent low, at least the one that it's going to print next, cannot be lower than 1750. If it is, then that trend is essentially nullified and effectively no longer relevant. So again, all in all, pretty good shape here at this point. I do think we should expect further upside than downside for this coin here. I think we're looking pretty decent, all things considered. So that's Avalanche. Hopefully that helped educate you on some things. And if you're not currently a community member and you want to become a better trader, CryptoCash.tech is a site, or just like my members that request these coins, I cover this as well with you. We all learn and grow together. It's a fantastic experience. Once again, check that out. CryptoCash.tech, link in the description below. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next one.